this thing, so that's okay. There you go. Okay, recording is now on. Perfect. Gemini, go away. Okay. Hello, everybody. So for the sake of everybody maybe not knowing each other, new business owners in the room, I would love if we go around the room, say what our name is, what our business is, and I would love to know what is one thing related to phone content creation that you would like to take away from this, like in a quick snippet, one sentence. What would be your best takeaway from today if I can answer a question for you? Would you like to get off?
G, the Hideaway Inn and Restaurant. Probably differences between, especially Instagram posts, reels.
Yeah.
All of the different things.
Yeah. So content mix. Perfect.
Yeah, I'm Eric Friedman. I'm the Executive Director of the Metro Valley Chamber. Thanks for joining us today, Brittany.
Of course.
And for me, it's more about how I can get the community to collaborate more and to support one another and build the audience for everybody.
Perfect.
I'm Ryan Donnelly. I'm also covering Deco Restaurant and Bar. And I think probably for me, it's where to post.
Like platform-wise?
Platform-wise. Yeah.
Awesome. Perfect.
I'm Kelly Aiken. I just opened Mad River Flowers. It's a florist. We have houseplants, outdoor plants soon. For me, I don't have a website yet, so I'm really using social media to communicate everything, and I don't think I'm very good at it. So
No, you're doing.
I need all of the
best you
things.
Yeah, no worries.
Daisy Scarzello and Kismet Properties, which is a vacation rental. Just have two short-term rentals.
Awesome.
I want to know how to get better at promoting local businesses without making my Instagram really boring.
Yeah.
Because I've been trying to do that, and then I look and this isn't working.
Yeah.
And I guess the other thing is just a little push to do it. Every time I'm a planner, so every time I go to make a post, I can't do the on the fly thing. It takes me like a week. I'm one of those takes a week to think about, and then I miss it.
Yeah. Common occurrence. So
Yeah,
we can cover some of that too.
Yvonne from the collection. I guess it's about how important the mix of posts are these days. I know it's a constantly changing environment. Like notes are gone, they came and went. So
we're better for that going away.
yeah. So I guess I'm having issues. Like I went to go try to do a carousel and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. It just automatically is going to a reel now. So I'm not quite sure. I'd love to know just very simply how to get back to doing carousels.
Yeah.
Because I think from what I've heard, algorithm likes a mix of the video and the carousels to keep people looking at the content longer.
We'll cover that as well.
I'm Amy Kimmel from Sure It Happens. I'm kind of in sort of the same thing as Jean says, the differences you get into sort of your post versus your reel versus, the story. And is there a time where one is more appropriate than the other? I mean, I know from another thing with you that it was like when you put a post, then I'm automatically share it to your story. The post gets buried. So just kind of that.
Yeah. A little bit of content organization when it comes to planning. We will definitely cover that as well. Awesome. Well, I'm Brittany Winfield. It's so good to meet you all in person. Usually we do these virtually. I also, for the folks that are online, if you want to unmute and introduce yourself, you're more than welcome. Challenge by choice there. But I am Brittany Winfield. I'm a social media manager and mentor, and I own the Winfield Creative, but we'll learn more about me. If you want to hop in and introduce yourself, we'd love to know who you are.
Hi, it's Jordan from Fifth Quarter Butcher and Provisions, formerly known as Mad River Cheese Place. So representing both the butcher shop and the market. And I would love to know more today if you can share a little bit about what the algorithm is doing these days and how it picks up what's going to share to your audience. I see that some of our posts end up getting, reaching small fractions of our audience, and others are continuing to get likes and reposts weeks later. So I would love to know how to do more of the latter.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's touching a little bit on evergreen content. So I'll make sure to also touch upon, trendy type of content. And I believe, Jordan, you were the one last time who asked about, more trendy topics and how to keep the momentum going with that. It was a little bit different of a situation, but, same concept. When you have a post that does really well, how do you keep that momentum going and creating more, learning from that in a thematic way? So that way you're creating evergreen content that even if you put a post, 2 months ago, is it still, gaining some traction as the time goes on? Awesome. So let's get into it. I'm going to bring Jordan a little bit into this bottom corner here. Okay, so we're going to be talking about content creation from your pocket. This is me. This is my intro. I'm Brittany. I do social media for a living. I love social media, grew up with it, but still had a childhood, thankfully. And now I go around the state of Vermont and teach business owners how to effectively implement strategy. So that way you are creating more sustainable content plans for your own small businesses. I also like to point out that I do have free resources for different businesses. So a podcast, a blog that I post every week, and also my Viral Vibes newsletter. I always like to just mention that it's a free resource for you all. So in case you are looking to incorporate more trending audio into your reels, I go out and I find what is trending that week and put it into your inbox every Monday, along with different strategies that you can implement for the week for your business. So I always like to just mention that in case you're looking for more resources beyond just this workshop. Okay, so there's a myth out there that you need like the fanciest camera in order to just start posting on social media. And fortunately, we live in a world where iPhones and Android phones and all the phones are continuously getting better, especially with the cameras that are attached to them. Am I telling you to never hire a photographer? No, of course not. Look at all the beautiful photography that exists in the photographers that work in the Mad River Valley. However, if you are not at a point in your business that you are able to hire a professional photographer for a branding shoot, or you're constantly, like I think of you, Yvonne, constantly turning over a retail product where that's just not economically sustainable to bring in a photographer all the time, how can you use this device that you have in your pocket in order to create content that looks good, feels good, and attracts your audience? So that's really the premise for today, is how do we use these devices for capturing content that looks good to our audience? So prepping your phone, one of my biggest pet peeves is, looking at a photo where there's like streaks on the camera lens, like there are just like it's blurry. Just a few little tweaks could make some content a little bit more elevated. So first, before taking content, I like to encourage folks to prep a little bit. So making sure that you get into the habit of cleaning your camera lens before taking the photo. Turning on grid lines is always a good idea, which I'll show you in a little bit more detail how to turn on those settings. And also feel free as we're going along to like actually take out your phone and play along, because once you set this up, you'll have these on forever until you shut them off again. How to adjust the brightness on a photo, and then tapping to focus on the subject that you are looking to take a photo of. And then verticals for socials. I cannot tell you how many times I look at a reel and it is like horizontal, which is totally fine. We're doing the best with what we have, but how can we make it a little bit more optimized for social media, which social media reels, photos are now prioritizing vertical photos. There's different ratios for each. So if you're looking into more specifics, you can set your phone for any photos to what we call 4:5 ratio. So 4 and then :5, that is for posts itself. If you are still doing designs that are in more square ratio, that is no longer being recognize that in term. Like you could still post a square post. However, it has the grid itself when you're looking at a profile has now switched to elongated posts. So, if you have different graphic templates that you've been working with Canva and you're just you have them set to 1080 by 1080 pixels, you'll have to resize them into what we call 4:5 ratio. For reels and stories, it goes by 9:16 ratio. So these are like the truly elongated ones. And you also have the option on your phone to switch your camera settings just for the one photo, the one video that you're taking to the different sizes. So I always like to point out that there are different sizes for each. When you are taking long form content, which might be, taken this way, you might just want to think about cropping to whatever subject is in the center. So that way it then meets the sizing optimization of different reels. For grid lines and the different settings, let me know if this is a little too difficult to read, but these are the settings that I like to use if you have an iPhone. So recording video at 4K at 30 frames per second. FPS stands for. Most content creators are recording in that setting.
That's a stupid question.
No stupid questions, but
Only
yes.
stupid people. How did you get to that screen?
Yeah,
Oh, is that in?
Oh, thanks.
so iPhone, if you have one, if you go to settings,
Okay.
at the top search bar, you can search camera, and then it's at the top. Them incorporating a search bar on settings was the greatest update they could have done on the new iOS. So if you are looking for Android, I don't have, but I can find that answer and put it in an email for everybody. But these are the settings to set your camera settings to, so that way it's capturing video at the enhanced frames per second.
So the 4K at
And just so you all know,
30?
yes, at 30 frames per second. And then also at the bottom where it says composition, there's one that says grid. That is also something to toggle on, so that way grid lines appear when you're going to take a photo or video. Because next we're going to talk about some compositions that you can take some photos on.
I don't have the record slow-mo setting that you have.
Yeah.
You probably have, so
I
don't
don't
worry about
have,
slow-mo necessarily. You
yeah.
probably have a phone that doesn't have the slow-mo
Okay.
option, or you might also not have cinematic. That's totally okay. You could do a lot still with the phone that you're working off of. Higher iPhones like 14 and above, they do have the slow-mo option and the cinematic option, but they have default settings. It's totally okay if you're not using that. Slow-mo's you can always create a video into slow-mo, like edit it into slow-mo, but it's sometimes hard to like use the slow-mo feature. So it's totally okay if you don't have those settings.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you went into,
Yeah. Here, I'll pop over. Perfect. So settings, that's
I'm the
fine.
only person in the room with an intro.
I have an answer.
Oh, okay. I was like,
You're not alone.
I don't feel so bad.
Oh, so easy for me. No, that's okay. There we go. So you see where I went. So here's your regular settings. If you are looking at camera settings, click in here, and then turning on grid, and then record video at 4K at 30 frames per second, and that should hold. And then let me just change your slow-mo on here too. And okay, we're all set. Perfect.
Yeah.
Of course. Anybody else? Are we all good
Yeah.
with settings here?
Well, just like on my slow-mo of the two options I have, which one would I want?
Yep, at 240.
Perfect.
So for the camera, it says 4K at 40, right?
So 4K at 30 is the optimal one that most content creators use. And then I also want to preface, because you will be taking things at 4K now rather than 1080 or whatever you have it set. This will make your content higher quality, which will also increase the size. So just so you know, keep an eye on your phone storage. If you don't have a backup setup right now, what I do recommend to most of my clients is most of us have Gmail accounts. utilizing Google Photos to then back up your content. And that actually kind of helps your content creation process, because not only will you have the content on your phone, you'll also have it backed up, and you can access that on your desktop too. So if you are doing stuff like Meta Business Suite and pre-scheduling your content, you'll be able to access the photos and the videos that you took on Google Photos on both your mobile device and your computer. So that backup of Google Photos allows you to free the space back up on the hard drive of your phone. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. It's like I try not to get too techy, but you never know. So as far as prepping your content goes, when you're going to go take a photo, these little action steps, adjusting the brightness, which we'll practice, turning on your grid lines, and tapping to focus are just little ways that we can enhance our content a little bit further. Okay, so let's talk about composition. I also want to just check the chat real quick, just in case if Jordan has any questions. Looks like we're all good. Perfect. Jordan, if you ever have questions, just feel free to hop right in and ask them. Okay, let's talk about composition. I'm glad we chose the same photo by the Kinses because it's a really good one. So this is a photo by the Kins couple that I found on their Instagram page, and I thought this was a great example. Now, keep in mind they are professional photographers, but I figured they would know what they're doing even more than I am. So composition 101. So the rule of thirds is a photography rule of thumb that essentially says one way to make our content just a little bit more appealing to the eye is once you have these grid lines on, you'll see that most people put the subject on one of the grid lines. That's just a little bit off-centered. So you see the people that are on the rocks here, they're in like the 1/3 section of the photo rather than just in the dead center. Now, this might change based on what your subject is. We sometimes see Instagram photos, for example, of like another photo that Kinses took was a bride and groom kissing with the background being the Mad River Valley Mountains. Now, of course, that makes sense since they are the main subject of the photo, the bride and groom who were, you know, having their first kiss at the wedding. But as far as bringing in a little bit more like fun and playfulness and drawing the eye based on like eye perspective, this goes very much into like photography, you know, 102, but it just draws your eye to the people, and then the log, you see how it goes up and then to the center. It brings your eye across the whole photo, so that way you're looking at the photo as a whole. So thinking about how can you incorporate rule of thirds just to put a little bit more of a professional photography spin on the content you're taking for your business. And then number 2 is using natural lighting. So this might seem a little obvious, but you know, how can you move your items that you're taking photos of? Maybe it's you are the subject, making sure that you're using as much natural light as you can. So turning on the lights, opening up the curtains. When you're filming a video, for example, having your phone, like it's better to take it this way, so that way the light is shining on your face this way rather than this way where I'm backlit and then I'm just like a headless shadow. So using natural light as best as you can. And then if you are doing any content that you are taking outside, best practice is, you know, a cloudy day actually instead of the bright sun. However, some of that the bright sunny outside type of photography, you can also utilize saturated colors, really like feeling out the aesthetic of when you see your grid in full, what is the aesthetic that you want people to feel? Do you want them to feel happy and colorful? Like I think, Yvonne, you literally sell toys. Like, can you take one of the dolls and that you're selling and, you know, point it up to the sky so the background is like that bright blue with clouds in the back. So really just feeling out like what is the best background, and then also avoiding clutter. So rather than taking a bunch of like, I'm just going to use flowers for the next example. I always like to try to incorporate the examples, you know, instead of just a bunch of flowers that there's no main focal point. If you are trying to promote a certain kind of flower, for example, how can you bring it out into the foreground and then be able to make that the main center without having like a cluttered background? And this is for a few reasons. So that way folks know what the main thing is that you are trying to promote, but also when you are allowing for a subject to be in the foreground rather than everything on the same plane. Does that make sense? As plane is what I'm referring to. If you were ever to go into Canva and create a graphic by removing the background, which is a very common practice by content creators, you are going to have a very hard time editing that and pulling out the background if everything is on the same plane. In content creation, if something is in the foreground and it's very clear that there's a background plane behind it, one, you can blur out the background and really make that main thing stand out. But also if you were to use the background remover tool on Canva, it's not going to work. So it's just going to make your content creation process a little bit harder rather than setting it up.
How about
easily.
using the portrait setting for taking a
Yeah,
picture?
so portrait also, that is a great setting to use. If your phone has that, that's another great way. And I'm glad you pointed that out, Yvonne. Portrait mode, if you have not used that, same thing with cinematic. Cinematic is the video version of portrait mode. Portrait mode means you have something in the foreground that is very clearly in front of the rest of the background, and it automatically blurs what's on the background. And you can change the blurriness of it. But that's another way where you can use your iPhone to really make this one thing stand out. So yeah, that is why I also recommend not having much clutter, because those features will not work if it doesn't know what the main focus is of the photo or video. Yeah, any questions?
Have you been to my store? Clutter is an issue. Taking
that's
a
why-
photo is really hard
Well-
because there's always so much in the background.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to
Yeah,
figure out how to
yeah.
not
In-
focus on everything and get the eye
Yeah.
going where I want it to.
And in your case, because there is a lot of like things, how can you also incorporate humans in the process? If you have employees or yourself that is comfortable being on camera, even if you're not comfortable with fully being on camera, that's okay. But if I were to take, this hair clip, for example, and point it out this way, and somebody's taking a photo of me, because this hair clip is the furthermost, like the closest thing to the camera, I'm going to be blurred if I use portrait mode, if the camera's pointing at me this way. So that might be a way where you can incorporate more personality and the people, like if you do a post that's like staff pics, for example, and you have staff members hold out the thing in which that staff pic is, I think like kind of like bookstores do that a lot. That'll make your content creation a little bit easier, where it's very clear that there's a human holding this thing up. There's like the personal hand touch. And then, but the object is still the main piece of content that you are promoting. So thinking about, how can we incorporate these different elements so that way it's not just the product, but it's also the culture of the business that you're promoting and the people that are behind that, which we're going to talk about too, is like the different objects that you can promote. And people is definitely one of the ones that people want to see. They want to know about your business, what happens behind the scenes and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay, so giving yourself options, I always like to encourage folks, photos and videos. Rule of thumb, I say like it's easier to take a photo from a video because you can take a screenshot of the video. However, video, if it's not slow enough, it's going to be blurred out. If also you're going a little too fast on the video, you know how you have to select a cover photo for the reel, so you won't be able to choose one from that frame if it's going too fast. So giving yourself flexibility with the content allows you to have a mix that then you're not chasing an algorithm, which I heard from a lot of your questions, like what is the right type of content to make? What I encourage folks is do a mix. One, because I don't know just from our conversations, if it's faster for you to make a carousel, which is a bunch of photos and putting a caption on, or it might be faster for you to put a reel together. In my case, it's faster for me to put a reel together than a bunch of carousels because I'm very indecisive about the photos. So really asking yourselves, what is the fastest type of content that you can make? But also if you can incorporate a mix of things, then you're not chasing the algorithm. The algorithm is going to sway and do things all the time. But really your main priority is attracting humans. And humans are, you have a very different target audiences that are attracted to very different things. You might have people that value, saturated color photos. You might have people that want to hear from the business owner themselves and hear it right out of your mouths. You might have somebody that is interested in trending audio, and once they hear a song, then that's what's going to make them stop scrolling. So instead of trying to always chase what the algorithm's doing, because the algorithm's always going to change, really incorporating a mix of things and practicing what works best for you and your business. If it is easier for you to take a bunch of pictures as you're going about your day, then you're probably going to incorporate more carousels and more static photos. If you are behind a computer all day and you don't want to be the face of your business, it might be more Canva graphics. If you are more comfortable talking at a camera for a minute and then putting a caption on it and getting it out the door like I am, it might be a floating head reel, which we're going to talk about. So really thinking about what is most sustainable for you as the business owner / content creator. So that way you are having consistency on your social media platform and not just like waking up and being like, oh, I haven't posted today, like I have to do it. It just makes the content creation process so much easier and like less of overwhelm if you are trying different things and seeing what you like. And then it makes you feel more motivated to take that content and incorporate it into your daily habits as a business owner rather than like, oh, I have to wake up and do this. So yeah, that's what I always encourage for folks. Yeah.
Carousel versus reel.
Yeah, so carousel is those multi-slide photos that you see. You can incorporate a video into a carousel. So, when you have to like slide for the
You
next
have to
thing.
manually move it.
Yes, that's a carousel.
A reel moves by itself.
A reel is more like a short video clip that you can put together to create like a mini movie essentially.
Yeah.
So reels can incorporate photo and video. Both of them can incorporate photo and video, but it's presented via social media in a different way. So carousel is you have to swipe to see those different assets, and then a reel plays on its own. Typically it has audio attached to it.
When would you want to use one over? Like to me, a
Yeah.
reel is like what you'd want to do.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be so, you don't have to convince someone to swipe.
Yes.
You know what I
So
mean?
yeah, absolutely. So reels are a little bit more intermediate as far as content creation goes, because it does have a little bit of an editing process. I'm going to be teaching you 3 very easy types of reels to create. It could get a lot more intense than that, but we're not going to go there today. So reels do have a little bit more enhanced storytelling to them, because it's like watching a mini movie. Like people have short attention spans nowadays, so they'd rather just watch something.
Yeah.
Also with like TikTok coming on the scene, like people are just like into short form videos right now. Carousels though, they do allow for you to add music to the top. Like that's a newer feature on Instagram. So you can incorporate some storytelling, but it's one song that then like summarizes all of the photos and videos that you're using. It's not like you can edit it so that way, a song only plays for the first 3 seconds of your clip.
Right.
And then,
Okay.
yeah,
I tried
so-
a carousel once and I got confused.
yeah,
That's
so
exactly what I
carousels,
got confused on. Okay.
yeah, so carousels are a great way to start just to get that consistency going. And again, like you can include a video on a carousel. So if you are taking a video of, a walkthrough of one of your properties, you can include that as the last piece of content on a carousel. That's totally fine. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, of course. So 3 types of content that are very consistent, and it gives you a good mix of different subjects to promote not even promote, to showcase on your social media pages. One, product and service spotlights. We're all selling something, right? So teaching folks what you have in store as far as inventory, different features of the items that you're trying to sell. So maybe it's the features of the short-term rentals that you're trying to have be booked. Maybe it's the service. So you're promoting turn down service, for example. Benefits. So what do they get out of it? Is it the ease and convenience of where this house is located versus the small businesses that they want to visit while on vacation? Is it the monetary different comparisons? So think like time, money, effort. Those are really are like, what are the benefits of your service versus somebody else's that they have the option of spending their money. Yeah, benefits are really like, what is the value that your product or service is providing in their lives? And it just holds a little bit more weight because people often, it's using that, and we talked about this in a prior training. So if you go back to speak their language, I talk about this a lot, but I talked about problem to solution to call to action framework as Catherine, so I recommend that. So we're thinking about benefits. It's people are coming to hire a product or service because they have a problem. Well, your product or service provides a solution for them. So their problem is that Easter's in 2 weeks and they are like, wow, I have 3 kids to try to like get an Easter basket together. So they have a problem, right? Their solution, come to the collection and you can get everything in under an hour, you know, like they shop around, all 3 kids will be taken care of and, you know, mom gets to go home and just put them together. And then the call to action is come visit the store during these open hours and we'll take care of you. So you see how like this different framework allows you to highlight your product or service in a way that makes it about them rather than, you know, hey, come to our store so we can sell you a bunch of things. So it really puts your content in the mindset of like, what do these people need now that you can solve their problem? So you could be the guide for them. And then also how to, so if you're a service provider, especially like how to use different toys and objects and whatever services. So that way you're educating them and showing them if they work with you, they're going to be educated on this, or basically you're still going to provide value just in a different way. So that's the first type of content bucket. These could get a little salesy, but really if you're focusing on the features and the benefits, you know, you speak their language in that way. Number 2 is the process. So process as a business owner. We all charge a certain amount of money for our services. People will only see it from this side of the sales pipeline. There is a bunch of other things that happen behind the scenes. So subconsciously, by by showcasing the behind the scenes, not only do they get to see your process and the prep that has to get done, your monetary price tag that you are charging them actually like shows more value than if you were to just show them the end result, because they won't necessarily see the behind the scenes unless you tell them what that is. And also, bless you, this is process is often what you would see when we are engaging in Instagram stories. So if you're ever on Instagram stories, you know, it can be a very quick, like, take a quick photo and put it on Instagram stories of like, we just got this new arrival today. And it could be just like you opening a box. It could just be the box being opened. So that way people don't need to know all the details of it, but it's sparking this like emotion in them to be like, ooh, what is this? And it showcases the process of like, it's not just, it doesn't just magically like appear on the shelves. It's you going in early to go unbox the thing, and then you have to go inventory it, put it into Square, whatever you're using, and then put it on the shelves and then promote it. So you're showcasing the behind the scenes work and also getting people involved with the decision-making process. And that's something that I do recommend looking up, because some of the ways that people use social media is also getting feedback from their customers. So if you are in the process of creating something or thinking about, you know, this or that, like what should I bring into my store? Or what type of service should I provide? You can ask your community and people will tell you their honest opinion of you know, do it or don't do it. You know, we'd rather have this than that. And then you as a business owner are making smarter business revenue choices because you already know that the demand is there and you're already starting to get them excited for this. So when you then go to promote like the service spotlight and say, okay, this thing is now available, come to the store, you've already got people like excited for it. So that way it shortens their buying decision-making process. So that's the second bucket. And then third is the people. So who's the face behind the scenes? Who's making the magic happen? What are your values? What are your customer stories? What are some of the wins that your business has had? And a lot of the times, this is the easiest way to get likes and views because people want more good to come out of social media. So a lot of times I hear business owners be like, well, that was just like a small win. A win is a win. Put it online if you feel comfortable with it. Because if your views have plateaued, especially, this is a really easy way to like just get your algorithm spinning a little bit more, but using humans, like human comments that they're writing. So you're involving your community with your business successes. Regardless if you see them as successes, they are a success for you, for your business, for your community. It's a shared win, and it'll get your content to be like bumped a little bit. It is often like if you ever need like a little boost in your insights, I will like pull even if it's not like a win for the day, you know, like a recap of something, like a progress pic of like the first day you had in business versus now. Like these are different ways to just highlight where you were and then where you are in your process and just celebrate that a little bit more. Any questions about the 3 types of content? And it really boils down to these 3 types. If you look on, I challenge you all to look on social media a little bit and see which one each falls into. I'm just going to check the chat for Jordan, if you want to unmute and ask a question.
I was just going to share an anecdote, which is that we have found like very reliably that anytime we put our team members in photos, those posts way outperform anything else, even if it's somebody's hands cutting a wheel of cheese or just a photo of a staff member. They like triple the amount of engagement. So it's not that any of us ever really want to be on camera, but somehow it works for the platform.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing, Jordan. And absolutely, like, it's a great way for the Mad River Valley also to showcase the real people that live here. In the beginning of 2025, a lot of social media creators were, you know, they always do the like, what's about to be trending in 2025. The number one thing I saw from multiple impact reports was treat social media like a reality TV show. It's like a sitcom, especially if you have sitcom-based culture. People want to see realness. They want to see authenticity. Like, authenticity is like the word of the year for content creation. And the best way to just be authentic is to speak as you would in a caption. Like, pretend somebody you trust was, you know, right in front of you as you're writing your caption and just speak to them. Like I kind of treat my Instagram page like, use this word lightly, but like a journal or a diary of like, you know, today I did this and I'll speak in I language. That's not for everybody. I get that. But for me, that's the most authentic. I pretend like I'm on a FaceTime call with my audience. Do whatever you need to get yourself into a mindset. But I always like to, you know, imagine the person standing in front of me like I'm just having a face-to-face conversation with an ideal customer. And that often will also perform better than if I were to like be like, okay, like I need to fit all the keywords into here. Your audience on your follower list, we're in Vermont. We're not speaking to like the global community. We are just speaking to our neighbors to bring them into our stores and for them to also cross promote what we're doing in order to incorporate more of a community feel. So I always like to say like I'm speaking to my neighbor. So, and that'll get more engagement because they're real people that are engaging with your content. Awesome. Thanks, Jordan, for that little anecdote there. So one of my clients you may or may not know is Someday Boutique. We love Lisa and we love Patty. So using these 3 content pillars or content buckets as an example. So the first 2 is the products. So this was for Valentine's Day. We highlighted the sweaters and it was very much like a show love to yourself type of post. People also, they had like junior associates that worked with them during the busy holiday times. So this was incorporating some of the people, but the people were wearing the products because the girls love dressing up. So I'm like, great content there. So on this post that's in the bottom left, I should have numbered these. Bottom left here, this was an individual who was wearing the products. It made it really easy for me to then just tag the products because we have the Instagram shop connected to it. So it gave a little bit more personal feel, like people that are of that age demographic, that body type can imagine themselves wearing the clothes. So it's like a more humble way of selling the clothes because it brings this human element to it. And then the people that did then shop for those velvet dresses were like, oh, I recognized you from the Instagram page. That was awesome. So it's also how you bridge and marry the real world versus the social media world as well. Up at the top, we have Lisa here with a bunch of boxes. And this was a fun post because this showed the process. This showed the prep. Lisa had to unpack all those boxes at like midnight. But you know what? Our post was, guess what's in the box? And people loved just guessing random things. And her husband was like, I hope that's my birthday present. But it was not. It was a bunch of shirts. So it got people engaging and guessing and being part of that thought process like we talked about. So that way also Lisa was like, oh, people are guessing skirts. Like we might want to like include some skirts if that's what people are hoping what's in the box. And it got her a bunch of comments, but it also showed the process of how much work goes into running a boutique. Bottom middle there is Lisa went to a buying convention in Chicago. So just showcasing that process. It was a few pictures that she took of racks while she was there that I then put in a carousel, which is the multi-slide photo that was like, I went to a buying show, tagged a bunch of people that she had met along the way. They shared it to their audiences. She got a bunch of followers based off of it. So showcasing the process of like, Lisa wasn't in the store. Well, she's in Chicago, like trying to find clothes that people want that are back in Vermont. And then last but not least, we have the people. So top right there is a customer that had, we ran a holiday promotion where if you spend a certain amount of dollars, you get like kind of like Kohl's Cash. Well, we came up with like Sunday bucks. That was the first customer who had achieved that benchmark. So Lisa was like, can I take a photo of you holding up this card? You're the first one to do it. And it was a celebratory moment that Lisa had hit that holiday benchmark. The customer loved like, you know, being like, yeah, I love that I helped your like small business achieve this milestone, but it also showed customer appreciation in the process. And then it allowed us to push the promo even more in a more subtle way rather than like, come buy a bunch of stuff and you'll get this thing. Well, it's like, oh, by the way, you can do this too until this date. And then last but not least, these are 2 customers. That's actually my friend Melissa in the rainbow shirt there, who we did a carousel post of just customer appreciation at the end of last year. It's just like, we love to see our customers smile. That's it. That was the whole caption. And because people have recognized themselves in the photos, it was, I think, 7 photos or 8 photos of just customers that Lisa had taken photos of that were just like joyous to be in the store, regardless if they had bought anything. So these are just like different types of content that you can incorporate that it might overlap between the buckets, but this is content that people want to see and want to see more good on social media. Any questions about that? No? Okay. And also I want to point out, like, these were all photos. These were all, like, none of these were reels. We could do reels. I'm actually going to show you a bunch of reels in a second, but these were all just photos that just highlighted what's going on. So if you are not feeling comfortable to do reels yet, that's totally fine. If you stick to these like simplified versions of content types, you can do a lot of good on your social media with that because you're showcasing authenticity to your business. Okay, we're going to talk about reels now. before I do that, I do want to address some of the questions that you had previously. So we talked about doing a mix of things, both with content types, seeing what works, usually things with people in it. If you are feeling like I'm not comfortable being on camera, totally valid. I'm not telling people to like wake up and get their hair did and like be on camera all of a sudden. However, there is a movement that if you are not feeling comfortable on camera, I do recommend you check out. It's called faceless marketing. I haven't touched upon it much. It's on my to-do list. Solopreneur, a lot of things to do. Faceless marketing is a different movement that's like a subgenre of content that's happening right now where it teaches you different ways to incorporate people without you necessarily being right on camera. So as Jordan had touched upon, you know, hands in the photo, hands doing things. It does not require this to be anywhere near the lens. Different flat lays, if you think like interior design, that's another like type of faceless marketing that incorporates different art aesthetics, and showcases more of the products in a lifestyle way without people being in the camera. Same thing with lifestyle type of photos that I think like, you know, you're trying to sell different like experiences. How can you showcase the establishment that they're going to be staying in without people being on it? Well, you might like prep the room like they would want to walk into when they start their vacation. So there's different ways where you don't necessarily have to be on camera, but you can make it so that way it attracts the people, so that way they can imagine themselves in that room that they would be staying in if they were to follow through. So different mixes of content, different mixes of content types. So a few photos, if you are not feeling comfortable with photos, which photos, it could be hard because you are in your business all the time to remember to take photos. So one of the hacks that I use is I have actually like trained the humans around me to know what a social media minute is. It's something that I use all the time in my professional life, in my personal life. I do while I'm at networking events where I will put in my phone, like for a 5-minute block, social media minute. And that will remind me to film and take a bunch of pictures of things. So for example, I was at,
Hey, wait a minute, social media moment right now.
oh my gosh, Yvonne, you know. Oh yeah.
You should all take a photo that you are now present in improving yourself or your business. This is a post right here.
That's true. So Yvonne, you must have read the curriculum ahead of time. So that's exactly what it is. It's, you know, incorporating, just remembering at the top of whatever you're doing. So for me, it's 9 a.m. to 9:15 every day. I go in and I do a bunch of engagement and I will like film myself on a story. I did not do it today because I was on the road, but I'll film an Instagram story of me just like talking to my audience on Instagram for 15 seconds, being like, hey, good morning. Here's what's going on with me. Social media minute when I'm at friends events. Like I was at the Lawson's Vermont Women's Fund for International Women's Day before the event started because I don't want to be on my phone while that's like happening. To me, it's rude. I don't want to be that person. So I will make it a habit of filming the audience before things get started. And when the speaker comes on just for their intro, I'll film them for 10 seconds and then put the phone away. So I'll get little snippets that then I put together. But the social media minute is just, hey guys, come take a quick photo. Like I train the humans around me to know when to expect to be on camera, and then I put it away and be present with the humans around me. So I teach you this because that is something that you can also incorporate. So like, I don't know if you've heard of habit stacking before, but it's something that's been taught. James Clear's with habit stacking. So if there's already a habit that you're doing in your business, let's say that like, you're organizing brochures over there, that's something that's in your daily routine, or you are unpacking inventory. Like there's things that you already do for your business that you can very easily prop your phone in the corner, put the record button on, go do the thing that you already do already. And then when you're done with it, come over here, stop the recording. And then that piece of video can be used for a multitude of content reasons. whether it's just like it's a quick snippet of a reel that you might do down the line, or it could just be, which we're going to talk about. The first one is B-roll reels, where that's just a video of you doing something. Usually it's something that is part of the prep or the process, that content bucket number 2, but you can easily, put text on top of that video that is like, we're at it again, organizing brochures, or like, when you're a small business owner, but you're also HR, a content creator, you're your own accountant, like whatever that is that would then relate to your audience. And then that becomes a piece of content right there. So habit stacking, social media minute, like that is a way to get a bank of content going, but make it a habit so you know when to expect it. The people around you know when to expect it. And then you start to collect content that then you can use in a multitude of ways. Let's talk about B-roll reels. So B-roll reels, they're quiet, they're observational. They are you doing something for your business, where you are just putting your phone on whatever you're doing. Sometimes it's just could be landscape. It doesn't even have to be you in this video, but it is showing the vibe of the business. So when I'm doing like a landscape one, that is me just like videotaping the lake. And then it could be something like, I always try to spin it to my business. So like when you find content inspiration in nature, my goal is to get people offline by teaching them social media strategy. So by saying, hey, I'm a social media manager and I actually go outside to take content, that's encouraging other people to do it as well. So in your own business, this is an easy way for you to just like prop your phone in the corner, let it record, and then you have something that you can then turn into content. Oftentimes we see people add music, we see them adding trending audio to it, and simple text overlays. So just like POV, something related to your business. This is great for product features. So I think like slow pans of your shelves, for example. Ambiance, so showcasing like the fire. A B-roll video could just be propping your phone in this corner towards the neon and the fire, letting it go for like 20 seconds, and Eric can put it on the Mad River Valley Instagram page, wink, wink, of the rip-roaring fire, and it's like just another day at the Welcome Center. And like that encourages people. One, it brands itself, so he doesn't even really need to add the text to it. But I didn't know that this fireplace was in here. Like it showcases people that are in the Mad River Valley area that has never physically been inside of this building. Like this is the ambiance that we're setting for the visitors that are coming to the community. And then also packaging and display. So again, showing part of the process. Do we want to see an example from a Mad River Valley business? Okay.
Yes, please.
Yes. Okay, so this is your folder. Loud. This is just a video of somebody breathing in and breathing out in the sauna, and added a note on the sauna, which if you don't know if they're not, so everybody loves it. That's all it is. For 15 seconds is this guy breathing and no conflict in the background. That's it. That's the whole video. And it got like a bunch of likes. It reminded people to breathe. Like it was just like a simple human interaction turned into content. But it makes sense for a sauna to encourage that, because a lot of the problems that their customers deal with is, hey, I got life going on. I sometimes forget to breathe. And if you heard from the lyrics, it's breathing in, breathing out. And then it goes into the rest of the verse. But any questions about B-roll video? Yeah. Okay, awesome. We are going to practice some of this too. I'm not going to just be talking at you, I promise. Okay, next over is voiceover reels. These are ways to do faceless marketing if you want to. So these are really small snippets of like short videos of like things that are around your area. This is things that like the process of something, showing from like the A to Z process. These are short video snippets where you can then do a voiceover. That's essentially like you're narrating what's happening in the video. So you could tell a story, explain a process. You can also share a quick tip. These are great for educating while also making that more personal connection with your audience because they're hearing your voice. So if we were to just, yes, it's good to put videos or short snippets together and then put a song to it. Adding one more storytelling element is the narration piece. So, you know, if we're thinking about storytelling in general, it's character development.
How do you do the narration over music?
So that I'm gonna actually teach you how to do after this. We're gonna create these 3 reels together. So that way you have different content to walk away with. So tutorial coming very soon. I wanted to show the example first. But good, keeping me on track, Mom. So the example I have is a MRV Valley business owner who's new to the business entrepreneur life. Her name is Kate Kaufman. She owns Grease and Glitter. She's awesome. I've been trying to get her to come to these events, but she's just busy, which is great. We love that. I met her for coffee the other day, and she's like, Brittany, I see people doing all these reels, but I have no idea. Like, I don't want to just be on camera while I'm trying to like do inventory merchandising. I'm like, let me teach you a different type of reel where you could just take little snippets of things, and then later on, when you have time, you could tell people what you're doing, because people aren't going to it's not going to make sense if they're just seeing a bunch of like areas of the store. They need to know what she's doing for it to make sense. So just to give you a little bit of context, we're going to watch Kate's video that after we met for coffee, this was the result. And she had texted me afterwards. She's like, I have never gotten this much attention on a reel before. So this is a very valid way to incorporate voiceovers.
Hey, it's Kate Kaufman with Grease and Glitter. Today we're on Church Street in Burlington at the Vermont Eclectic Company for
So this is a little bit of photo
I
that she
designed
took,
an
a little
interchangeable
mixed bowl.
permanent window display for their stores last year so that we can keep the windows feeling fresh and updated without reinventing the wheel each season. Today I'm swapping out the snowy layers for a canopy of spring green and bringing the turf grass back out. I styled each window with a different color story of their hard goods assortment and made sure to showcase their top 10 selling shirt designs.
Why she's doing it?
Inside the store, the front was feeling a little empty after holiday, so we're adding a soft seating area under the pendant and pulling the nesting tables to the front. We shifted their signature Clucky sculpture behind the seating area to give the rolling racks more breathing room and Clucky a better view. I also put these cool hairpin legs onto an unused sign to create the coffee table here. I didn't change too much on this feature wall, just tightened up the merchandising and styling. And there you have it, an impactful spring refresh accomplished in one day. See you next time.
End result and showcasing the value. So by coming out for one day, she was able to transform the store. And one of the things she had told me is she had been doing this for Lawson's for, I don't know, a few months, and it had increased their sales by 27% just by moving around the merchandising area. So like this shows the process of, so that way next time when she like goes to put the next post that is, I worked at Lawson's and increased the revenue by 27%, people have context with the post right before that of how she does it. So it's not just like, oh, she pulled that 27% out of nowhere, you know? All of this is a mix of different types of content, educating and showcasing the value. So that way, that 27% post that she does next, which then she's going to go hard with the call to action of like, if you want this increase, book me so that way you can get on my books ASAP. It packs a harder punch that it shows that she knows what she's doing. So that is voiceover reels. And then we have one more, which is a floating head reel. Personally, these are my favorite. They're not for everybody, but essentially this is like your FaceTiming your audience. So this is talking directly at the camera. It is very personal, but also very vulnerable. It's very informal, but it's also very effective. So it's perfect for hot takes. So if you have an opinion about something related to your industry that has never been said before, you know, that is a great way to add to the conversation happening online, but in your own way. This is great for mini trainings and education and also frequently asked questions. So great for building trust, starting conversations, and showcasing your personality a little bit. So you've probably seen this type of post a lot. People are doing it nowadays. This is Miranda from Waitsfield Farmers Market.
Farmers Market application deadline is March 1st. If you have any questions about the application process or what we are looking for in vendors, comment them below. I'm happy to answer.
And from this post, she encouraged folks to ask questions in the comments, and people did, and she was able to have more of that personal customer experience, where it was a very quick response. They got their answers or the questions answered very quickly.
And that was not a live, was it?
No, that was not live. That was a quick, like, 10-second snippet of like applications are due. Here's a question that we've been getting often. Here's the answer. Have more questions? Comment below. Boom. So the problem is they have questions. The answer is go comment in the call to action. But she's also promoting something. It's like, get your applications in. So she's providing information in the process. So a mini training of like, she could probably do a series of them with like frequently asked questions. But in this case, it was like, I want to answer your questions today. So, yeah, it was a very quick like snippet. One thing that I see some people, it's not about perfection. It's more about showcasing your personality. So when I'm doing floating heads, once that record button hits, it's very easy to like get stuck in a loop of like perfection. My best practice, give yourself 3 re-records. Give yourself 3 times of getting it right. And, pick the best one out of 3 of them and just do it. Because if you are always aiming for perfection, you're never going to post anything. So with this one, a very easy add text about what you're talking about. Maybe it's the question that you're answering at the top, and then just adding, hers doesn't have captions on this one, but usually she does, adding captions at the bottom, which we'll also cover. But this is the 3rd real example, very easy to do, takes less than 15 seconds to create, film, and then it takes less than a minute to like bundle together and just it right out the door. Yeah. Any questions about that one? We're going to try them. Don't you worry. Okay. Last but not least, real strategy. So Instagram pushing to Facebook. This is one I want to make sure everybody, before you walk out that door, that this button is toggled, because this is the worst thing to try to explain virtually. Making sure that your funnel, as far as pushing content, starts at Instagram and pushes to Facebook. Facebook or Instagram by default will not push out reels. So that's something that we need to make sure everybody's settings is set to. But the good news is that, if Meta owns everything, the good news is you just have to post it once and it pushes to your Facebook page automatically. You don't have to, copy and paste anything. So best practice is start with Instagram, push it to Facebook. Second best practice is do a mix of trending audio and original audio, which is just like your voice. Original audio means you created the audio clip. Don't think about it much past that. That's just what it is. But doing a mix. So not just doing trending audio, but sometimes incorporating a floating voice or, just your own voice in that reel. Using cover photos. So if you are not finding a good snippet, like a good frame of the reel that you just did, or let's say it's a floating head video, you don't want just like your face being on the grid, just replace it with a different photo. Totally okay. Like if you are worried about the aesthetic of your grid, like staying aesthetic, just add a different branded photo from your phone and you can do that as well. So that's also a best practice. And then most importantly, consistency over virality. I've gone viral twice in my life. It's not fun. Trust me. There was no follow through and it was a lot. My phone blew up. It was always dying. It was not fun. So it is truly. So consistency. It's about building community because we are Vermonters that are just trying to create visibility in our community, reach people that will turn into paying customers. When you go viral, 99% of the people that are making comments and liking on the stuff do not live in Vermont. They don't know you. They're not going to buy your products. Our goal here is to connect with our community, which is like your follower list is this. We are just trying to slowly reach the 1% outside of this circle until we grow. That is more sustainable for social media marketing. That is how we are going to transform these people into our paying clients and customers. So really it's about consistency, showing up for your brand, creating visibility, creating reach within your community. And yeah.
I've heard recently that we shouldn't be quite as concerned about engagement. Because people are engaging behind the scenes and you don't even realize they're doing it.
Yes.
They're not necessarily commenting or liking.
Yes.
But they're seeing it.
Yes.
You'll have a customer, he'll come in and it's like, well, why didn't you just engage with it and
Yeah.
say something or do something?
Yeah.
So there are eyes on you, even though you don't realize they're there. So don't
Yes.
get discouraged
Yes.
if you're not seeing immediate results in likes and engagement with your posts.
And
Just keep doing it with the consistency.
And that's a good point where your customers, and we hear this at Lisa's shop all the time, where it's like, I love your, Instagram, like how you guys show up, but like they might not be the ones commenting, liking, they might be feeling like shy. 80% of Lisa's engagement comes from business to business community connection. So all the people in this room right now, go follow each other on social media. When you see Shirt Happens pushing out different things projects that you're doing, go engage with them. Be like, drop an emoji, drop a comment, drop a question into the comments. Get your engagement up. You'll do this for the flower shop and start to show your excitement. You do this for the VT collection. Like, this community is able to support that engagement. So that way, when Shirt Happens gets 1, 2, 3, 4, however 10 people plus comments on it, you are then able to, how this works is the algorithm then looks at, the relationships, the interest, the relevancy. That's the 3 biggest factors that the algorithm can consider. So if you're a business in the Mad River Valley, your business in the Mad River Valley, your business in the Mad River Valley, it'll take that into consideration. And then that's when it'll say like, oh, you're a Mad River Valley active participant in your real community and your online community. Let's push this out to more like-minded people. So that way your post is getting more reach beyond just who's on your follower list. So that's why we want to aim for just like a little bit like outside of our community, not just like how many eyes can we see, like can we get on all of our content. It's really about, how can we support each other in this geographic location. So that way we're all able to expand, and the visitors, like the travelers who are coming to the mountain and stuff like that, they are often going to be looking like their gateway into all the other businesses is using geographic tags. So they're often gonna click on Waitsfield, Vermont and go look at the posts that are under that geographic tag. Posts that are having a little bit more engagement, like they're going to be at more of the top of that content bank because it is algorithmic. So just from a strategy way, like the best way you all can support each other is literally by supporting each other. But yes, there is a lot of engagement that's also happening behind the scenes. So if you're seeing a customer that's commenting on your thing, or a new follower, for example, if you're getting a new follower, reach out to them via DM. It feels super uncomfortable at first, but there are 3 ways you can do it. So via text, like a text-based message, via voice, which is my personal favorite way, or a video if you're really feeling brave, which I'm not. But, it's true. I've only said one and I'm like, not for me. So there are 3 ways where you can engage behind the scenes with people. So if you're getting a new follower, a simple like, hey, thanks so much for your follow. I'm Brittany, from the Winfield Creative. As a small business owner, this means a lot to me. So thanks. I'm not selling you anything. You already now know my name and there's a personal introduction. So they're not just like looking at my face on a Canva graphic. And it's showing gratitude. So it's going to make them want to like engage more with the business and the content. So
Can't you set that up automatically?
you can. That is a very, so it uses, I do this sometimes. It uses automations from a third party called ManyChat, which is more chat marketing. There are ways to do it. It does get a little technical, so if that's something you want to implement, I'm more than happy to have that conversation. But it does take some of the pressure off of having to follow up with everybody. I especially have it if somebody shares something like a post of mine on their stories, it'll say, hey, thanks so much for sharing my content. Very simple. I don't, I'm not trying to do anything past that right now, but there are ways where you can automate it. Not as much for a follower, like a new follow, but when they're interacting with your content, you can automate a lot of those pieces. Yeah. Okay. Who's ready to try some stuff?
I'm ready.
Sweet. All right. Everybody get their phones out. And also questions. If anybody has follow-up questions, we learned a lot today. And I also want to say that next time, May 13th, we're talking about event promotions, especially pertinent before spring, before summer. Wanted to make that one on the board. So
I have a question before we do.
Yeah.
Are there any I know you can set a post up in Instagram to auto post and stuff.
Yeah.
But are there any posting tools like Hootsuite or stuff like that you really that aren't Hootsuite quality but aren't Hootsuite price
yes.
that
So
you really like?
I
Or
use
is that coming in the
Metricool.
future one?
No, so I use Metricool. I love it. I obviously pay for the subscription base because I do it for a bunch of brands. However, they do offer a free one if you only have one brand. It's awesome. I can show you if you want. I use it for everything, and it allows me to post on. It's got Blue Sky, YouTube, it's got all the platforms. So Blue Sky, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, X, ads, all of the ads. So TikTok ads, Google ads, Meta ads, everything. I do everything on Metricool. It does analytics. It allows a Google Business Profile, which helps with search engine optimization too. And then it allows a centralized inbox. So you never miss a message from anybody, which is key, especially Google reviews. Make sure you reply to all of them. Pro tip. Take an hour out of your day if you haven't. And then it also allows for planning as well. So you can, one piece of content can go to all these different platforms. Yeah, Metricool. It's the coolest. I've tried a lot of them and it is user friendly. It allows you to save hashtag banks. It allows you, it even just came out with a new feature where it looked up all of the weird holidays, industry related holidays, and will auto prompt you to make a post about them. It's awesome. I recommend it to everybody. Yeah. Cool. Anybody else have questions? No? Okay. So I was hoping that you could choose one of the 3 reels we talked about and create one of them here. So that way you have me as a hands-on teacher to take you through the process. So I can't remember who asked about reels versus posts in my video, Daisy. So when you are, I wish I could, actually, can I AirPlay my phone to there?
Yeah.
Probably, right? Oh, sweet. Okay. How can I do that?
I think it's just a screen mirroring thing.
Sweet. Let's see.
And I don't think I have to take this off.
Okay, because that would be very helpful if I could just screen share my Instagram. Oh, there we go. Apple TV. Maybe. Unable to connect. While we are figuring that out, I also want to. I just want to show you real quick that this is Metricool. It's awesome. It's very color coordinated. So essentially you can hook up all of your different profiles that are on all the different platforms. So here's Facebook, for example. You have your analytics dashboard right here. And then up here is inbox, planning, smart links, which is how people say link in bio.
Right.
Well, you can create one that is branded and you can connect your posts to all the very different links that you have for different event promotions and such. So this is mine. I don't utilize this too often, so it doesn't look super pretty, but I can basically push different links out to different people using one mega link, and then ads as well as here. So you can.
So if you have more than one, with the Hostel Deco, it'd be a paid subscription then?
Sorry, hold on one second.
No problem. I can ask you afterwards too.
There you go. Oops. AirPlay.
Is your head swimming in? Okay.
Okay, so you got that.
You're in the right
And
place.
I think you just do
Right.
automatically AirPlay to TVs.
Mhm. Yep, I'm set to automatic. There we go. Let's see. That was my podcast I was listening to. Screen mirroring.
Website.
There's
Oh, code?
So have like
Um,
storage space for the others. That's
is there a
really
code that I
good
have to?
generic AI checkers
Okay,
that you can almost go in and like type what you want,
okay,
generate site for you.
okay.
Brittany can probably tell you better than me on it.
Oh, I
but-
love AI.
But like, I'm just saying, like, I mean, it's like.
Would
I know
you be
it's
able
way
to
down
turn
on your
yours
list,
off and
but
then see if it
very
turns
Turn
on?
what
Yeah,
off?
the
But
the
it's-
screen
like,
hearing.
there's something that can, cause you can go do it, type it in, and it can be out in an hour.
That
It's crazy.
Okay.
Oh, wait, no, it's not, because it's still doing it.
Sorry, what was the question earlier?
Which one? Oh, metrical, like doubles is, I forgot. Like if you have more than one like group, let's say like.
Yeah,
Hostel
different
and
brands.
Echo, two different brands.
Yep.
That would take me into like a paid subscription on it.
Correct.
Okay.
I do the 10 brands, like up to 10 brands. And I believe, if I remember correctly, if you're doing more than one brand, I personally feel like it's worth it.
Okay.
Because you can push out more content. Where's this code we're looking for? Apple TV, where are you? Maybe. I haven't used an Apple TV ever.
This isn't an Apple TV.
Oh,
Well, I wonder if
well,
you
where?
can go to the Apple TV. Actually,
Oh, yeah. We'll figure this out. And then, did you have a question?
millions of questions
Yeah.
that I don't even know what they all are anymore.
So with you not having a website, that does put you in a pretty interesting place, but not one that is ever going to hinder your business. What I would recommend is, since you don't have that, like, when we're thinking about a sales funnel, social media is at the top for awareness, and we're bringing them into our sales funnel, usually that's the website with the place to put them. I would utilize using your direct message to your inbox. So utilizing DM us to place pre-Mother's Day orders, for example, or like pre-Easter orders. Another thing you could do, actually, are you like open for business right now?
I am.
Okay.
I've been up for about a month.
How are you collecting orders, like Google Forms?
Over the phone, people walking in. And it's just me.
Yeah.
So I think online orders I would get overwhelmed with.
Yeah. So you can absolutely, if your call to action that you're most comfortable with is pick up the phone and call us, keep doing that. That's great. I would put a little bit, because you are a little bit more seasonal in the way like holiday seasonal is managing their buying expectations of you need to get, and say this in a way that feels more authentic. You get like
There's only one of me.
yeah, that and also
I need enough time to put your order together.
well, that,
Sooner
yeah,
is
in a
better.
way of being like, get your order in, all orders before May, whatever, will be ready in time for Mother's Day, pick up, on the 10th. So just managing a little bit of those expectations. 2 ways to kind of like, to pack more of a buying punch and like to get a little bit more conversions. We often see this with like course creators, but with folks that have deadlines is scarcity and urgency. That's not to say like panic everybody, there's only one road to the place, but say like I'm able to take 3 more orders for like put it quantifiable. So that way if they're like, oh shit, like I want to order flowers, I need to make sure I'm one of these 3 spots.
Yeah.
It creates a little bit more of scarcity mindset and urgency mindset of like give them how many you're able to take and give them if that is like
It just prioritizes where you are on their list.
yeah, absolutely. And the right people will reach out.
Square.
You could create a site through Square really simple.
I've looked at it quickly and then it's usually like, wait a minute, and then I get stressed out and I put it off for another day. So I just have to put it on my list to do now.
Brittany, is there a way other than lives that you can go back and forth from face forward to
Do you mean filming?
look
video?
at the camera?
Yeah, so you can do that. So there's kind of 2 ways you can film your reels. You can do that with your camera and upload it into the reel section, or you could just do it in Instagram For things that are like the little snippets, I always do it outside, like using the camera function. For things that are like the faceless or I mean the floating head, I usually do that in app so I can see the timer. I always talk more than I should. Case in point. As far as flipping it back and forth, you might want to do it outside of your camera. I mean, outside of the app. So that way you have a little bit more of like camera control. And then use the editing process inside of Instagram. Well, if we can't get this, that's totally okay. I do want to show you, Daisy, that when we are, so this is Instagram.
Yep.
Wait, I think I figured it out. So you go to that.
Yeah, that's what I was on. Yeah.
I'm looking at hockey. Sean and
No, are you on my Wi-Fi network?
Oh, not on my phone. That could be
Yes,
on.
that sounds good.
That's it. There you go.
My bad.
It's not.
Sorry, boss.
No, all good.
I was looking at PMS, but I was looking for new PMS for a while. But I was stuck.
For project management?
Property management.
So I use.
Thing. I looked at the upgrades the other day.
Aha,
They were
Got 'em.
more than double.
Yeah,
there we go.
For the same stuff.
Yeah, sometimes.
That's
I
what we
don't
needed.
realize I didn't take the video.
Great.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
We're in
okay.
business.
We are in business. Okay, here's Instagram, everybody. Now you can ask me all the questions you want. Okay, so we have this center, this navigation bar at the bottom. We have our center button is where we go to upload. This is obviously camera version. So at the bottom here, you see how it says post story reel live. At the very bottom, there's like these 4 different navigation pieces. So this is where you can toggle between a post, posting a story, creating a reel, and going live. Those are 4 different types of
How
content.
did you get to that?
So I just, at the bottom here, yes. Oh, there you go. Going back one step. So at the bottom, that plus sign with the square at the very bottom in the middle.
That's add content.
Yes. And then you should get to a screen that looks something like this, where you have a bunch of menu options. But first you need to choose what type of content, like in which way the content will be presented. So post is you're putting up a picture or a carousel. Story is it's landing on your Instagram stories, which are those circles at the top. Usually those are for more of the behind the scenes. And then you have a reel, which is more video content. So you see how it switched over. And then live is going live. So folks that are doing live walkthroughs, for example, that might be a good option of a way to present your content. It's a little bit more personal. It's a little bit scary, but it's not about perfection. It's more like people watching what you do live. And so people like give more forgiveness with lives if it's not perfect. It should not be perfect. It should be about that real human authentic experience. So that's an option.
Can I just jump back to reel? Reel.
Yeah.
So when you go to reel, then it shows all of your photos in the camera.
Yep.
So if you clicked on that, then and you clicked on adding those, then it would turn it into like then it turns into like a video, but it's reeling it.
Yeah.
right?
So
Okay.
yeah, exactly. So up at the top here, like these
It
are
turns into
4
like an
photos.
automatic
Yeah,
slideshow.
yeah.
Correct.
Right.
So pretend these are photos I took. I could not decide on a fireplace photo, but you see
Yeah.
how at the bottom it added the different photos.
Okay.
So pretend those are like snippets of different like photos of different things that you're shirts, for example.
Okay.
And when you hit the next button, it will auto synchronize them to music. This might be a little loud. I don't know how loud it's gonna be. It'll try to pair music it thinks would go along with this. So apparently Adele, that's what the fireplace is giving today.
I was thinking.
So, which I just off the top of my head know that this is a very trendy song right now. So it does give a few like, what are the vibes giving? Some like it pushes some trendy audio to you. I don't know.
And it auto stays on certain slides longer than others synchronizing to the
Correct.
music. Is there any way to switch that around?
Yes. So in this case,
If
if
there's
we
one
were
that
to
you
hit
like
next, yeah, absolutely. So in this screen, this is what I like to call the editing screen on a reel. So you see how it like auto synced and it's showing like a photo slideshow essentially. If you were to click edit video in the bottom left, this gives you full editing access to all this. So it actually, for some reason, it's showing this as a very short snippet. This is like a 2-second snippet. This is also a 2-second snippet. This is more of a 2-second snippet. So it did auto time everything. But if I wanted to be like, oh, I want this first one to be longer, I can select that. So all I did was tap that little snippet and I can use these little like hands to extend them as much as I want. And then you see how the song automatically added to it? Well, we can switch out that song by selecting that and then switching it out as well. So there's the replace button at the bottom. We can select that and it will pull up all these different songs that it also would recommend from both trending and just kind of like what filling out the fireplace
So you
vibes.
can put in your own.
You can
Under
put in your
search
own.
music.
Yeah, absolutely. So original audio, this is a tab that showcases other people's original audio, but you could, if you did not want music, so I still have it selected. I'm going to hit discard this trash can at the bottom here. You see how there's just photos and no audio now? Well, if I were to want to add audio, I could click this add audio button at the bottom. Or remember how we said that like Kate, for example, did the voiceover where she added snippets. And then there's this button at the bottom here that says voiceover. So when I click it, I can then, so this is called scrubbing. So putting the little thing where you want to start recording. So when I hit this center button, I can start recording a story over these fireplace photos. And when I play it back, it'll tell the story about being at the Mad River Valley and the words coming out of my mouth as I speak right now. So when I play this back, which is the play button at the top, my volume's not on, but if it was, and also it might be playing through the TV because I'm screen sharing right now, which I don't know if that volume's on, but it would play back exactly the words you just heard, that voice recording.
What if you want music and that?
Yeah. You're good, Dawn. Okay, let's get into more intermediate. Welcome to 102, everybody. No, that's good you're asking the question because it could feel a little awkward, just like your voice in silence. So you see how this track says voiceover 1? The one above it that says tap to add audio, you would tap that with your fingers. I highly recommend if you are doing something with your voice, not adding a song that has lyrics. So think lo-fi. Think instrumental, thinking a chunk of a song that's just like a sick guitar riff, like nothing that has lyrics because you do not want the noise competing with the important words coming out of your mouth. So for this case, when I go to search music, what I very often do is I just type the keyword instrumental. So a lot of songs that we know and love come in instrumental versions because lo-fi artists know that that's what real creators would want to hear.
So
So
you suggest doing your voiceover first and then add the music?
I do,
Okay.
because it'll play when you're trying to do your voiceover and it'll take you about 1,000 takes to like silence that out. So voiceover first, then audio. So I'm just going to choose Circles by Post Malone because I know that one. And so this allows you to preview it. So you can preview it before you add it to the track. So at the bottom here, this arrow, that's the white arrow at the very bottom right. I'm going to select that. And it allows you to choose which part of the song if you choose to. Usually I just, go with the default, or you can also scrub the song and choose which one if there's a sentimental part that is special to you. So when you have chosen which part of the song, you're going to hit done. And if we were to just do it right now, which actually, do you have a remote, Eric? I kind of want to.
Remote for the.
Yeah, the TV.
Yeah.
Because I want to turn on the volume so you could hear what's going on with this.
Reels have a limited amount of time, is that correct?
As of right now, they just changed it. It can be up to 3 minutes, which sounds
Okay.
like a lot, and I don't recommend people going full 3 minutes. In
Right.
your case, it might be a little different with walkthroughs.
No, one day I was trying to change the length of a clip
Yeah,
and I couldn't change it and I was losing my mind.
yeah, I can show you how to do
And,
that.
well, I figured it out because I finally realized my total was too long, so I
Yeah.
just shortened the other ones
Oh, got it.
to
Yeah,
get that.
yeah, yeah.
because, you know, and then more.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, it takes a minute. Ooh. I don't know if we want to watch the news. It's pretty depressing today. Oh, Letterman though. Um,
Sorry about this.
no, all good. Let me see if I can go back to screen sharing. There you go. Perfect. Okay, so let's see if this plays. Volume. You have the volume over there, Eric?
That's what I'm trying to get wrong.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. This one should be.
I've been doing.
Oh, weird. That should be your volume button.
Yep.
And then I'm assuming you hit that one already. Okay, well. Okay, well, it's doing it off my phone now. But you see how the music is at a very high level and you can barely hear the words that I recorded? So that was your example. I am going to go back to here so you can see what I'm doing. So in order to get the music to a low point, we want to select the song and click volume at the bottom. And this shows you all of the volume levels for every audio that you have. So your voiceover and your song. We just want Circles by Post Malone to be the lowest. So I always recommend bringing it down to like 3, 4, or 5 max. Like you don't need to have it at more than 10 ever. Because that's not the point. The point is just to cut out the awkward silence. Your words coming out of your mouth are so much more important than the Post Malone song. So if we were to play it now, my voice would be the main thing that you can hear. And the song would not be. So let me. I can start recording a story over these fireplace photos. So you see how like my voice is the main part of the story. Super important to remember that, but the words coming out of my mouth as I speak right now. Yeah. So you always want to select the song and then lower it to a 3, 4, or 5. Okay, so that was a voiceover reel.
Thank you.
Of course. So I would like to have you guys do one if you're feeling comfortable with it. How do people feel? Or do you want just questions answered? I can also just show you how to do it on the TV. How are people feeling right now?
We're gonna see if I have other questions.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I got lost in MetaSuite. That's fun. Is the time to use that when you really want to target your audience? Is that like where creating your posts through Suite is best because then you can get down into that demographic data versus going right from Instagram and posting something and maybe boosting it? Like,
Yeah. So with the benefits of using Meta Creator Suite is you can pre-plan your stuff and not have to like take time out of your day to do it. I still recommend checking in with your profile so that way you're getting comments on things that you're posting, you can reply to them and keep the algorithm spinning. With Creator Suite and just like I do recommend looking at your data as far as like what content did the best. Generally, as far as time goes, like time of day, posting between, it seems early, but I promise it's not, between 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. And that is because you're going to have people that wake up at 6 a.m. and the first thing they do is, I wonder what I missed when I was sleeping. And so your stuff is going to catch those early birds that are going to engage. And then as like the later arrivals of the morning wake up, your post will more than likely push to them faster than some of the other posts because you've gotten some of that early on engagement. And then it just keeps your like wheels spinning. That's not to say like if you go to an event, for example, to like wait till the next day to post something. Like if you're feeling like it, post it. It's better to post than not at all. But generally, as far as strategy goes, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. So that's another benefit of Meta Creator Suite. Do you really want to get up at 6 a.m. and like post? No, I don't. Sometimes I do, but I don't. Also, I want to point out that you are able to pre-schedule things in Instagram app now.
Yeah.
So personally, I hate Meta Creator Suite. I've never liked it. So you are able to pre-schedule your content in there. So I'm just going to take, this is Lisa's that we posted this morning. This is Get Ready With Me. But if I were to, I'm just going to skip all this. So this is your caption. You would get this set like you normally would, like you would do a normal post. And then here where it says more options, I'm not going to fully go through this because one's not my post, but right here, you see where it says sharing preferences. It says schedule this reel. So here's another option if you don't want to do it on a desktop and you're just like me, where you're like on the go, you're taking most of your content on your phone, you could do it from your phone. So you don't have to transfer everything to a desktop and do it that way. So if I toggle this on, it'll allow me to select the date and the time in which the reel gets scheduled. And then so that's on. And then when you go back, see how it switched from share to schedule? That allows you to schedule your reels, schedule your posts in the app if you want to. This is especially good for folks that use popular music. There's licensed music and there's non-licensed music. If you are on a business type profile, so your profile account type is business, I highly recommend switching it to a creator account. There's 3 different types: personal, which is personal use, creator, and business. Business sounds like you all should be on it because you're all businesses. However, business accounts for some reason are not allowed to use licensed music. So the popular songs, the popular audios, like it's actually doing a disadvantage to business owners because you can't add those like important storytelling elements. So I do recommend figuring out what account type you have. We can also check real quick before you leave and switching it to a creator account. That's the benefit of going through an app is you can't do that on Meta Business Suite. You can't like create a reel that has popular audio and then schedule it in the app. You can. Yeah. Did that answer your question? That was like a little bit more information.
Yeah, I didn't, that helped me feel better about ignoring this week because that was just not really fun to.
Yeah, I hate Meta Business Suite personally.
Cool.
How about those
Take that off the
for
list.
those who are listening in silence?
Yes, so that's a good point, Yvonne. A lot of people are on their mobile phone. People usually pick up their phone and watch stuff and scroll when they're like
Watching TV.
watching TV in the bathroom, on a bus. You know, like 3 places you probably don't want a reel playing while you're on the toilet. So this is an example of, I'm just going to use Lisa's reel from this morning because I know she talks in it. So I'm just going to go back to the main page so you can see the full process. So at the bottom, click that plus button. We have it set to reel. I'm just going to pre-select the video that she sent me. So on this part, we hit next. And then right here, you see the square that says CC, the universal sign for closed captions. It's going to closed captions.
Oh.
Closed captions. So please make sure the spelling is correct. My last name, Winfield, never gets it right. Been called the Winifred Creative. I've been called a lot worse. Like, especially if your name is being said and your business name is being said, watch the reel over and make sure if you do need to change the spelling of a word, click the like the caption, tap the caption with your finger and just scrub. This is even so you don't have to like watch the whole thing if you don't want to, but you know, if the word is a Taylor jean that we just got in, like if that was the wrong spelling of the word Taylor, that I could tap that. And then also if she said like a curse word, it would go beep. It would like black her out. So that's like a comedic way to include like a little authenticity. I'm not going to do that, but that's what it would do. So if, for example, we needed to change it to Taylor, that's not actually the spelling, but see how it changed it on the caption? So these are closed captions. That's great for if you are doing a reel that says words that are important. You can also move where the captions are. If you were to tap the captions again, you can also change the type of caption. This one is very popular with creators because it is very readable. You can also at the top change the color so it is a little bit more branded. For example, Lisa pink is everywhere in that store. So we often use the Barbie pink colors. So you can brand it a little bit more, but that's it. Like the reel's done. So essentially it's just like her filming herself, like talking, sends it to me. I get it in here. I throw captions onto here, change the color, and then like a quick caption and then out the door. So quicker content creation. There's a little bit of storytelling involved, very personal. It's also selling something.
Hashtags or no hashtags?
Yes, hashtags, but don't stress over hashtags. They do not magically push your content out to 1 million people. They indirectly get your content in front of people, but essentially a hashtag, it's like, this is a Mad River Valley book, this is a Mad River Valley book, this is a Mad River Valley book, this, like 4 different, yeah, whatever it is. So these are 4 different carousels, for example, like you're doing a post, you're doing this post, you're doing this post, you're doing this post. All hashtags do is if you were to use hashtag Mad River Valley, hashtag Mad River Valley, hashtag Mad River Valley, hashtag Mad River Valley, all it does is put these posts in one content bank. That's all it does. So if it doesn't magically like push this content out to me, but if I am a person who is coming to the Mad River Valley, I might go look up the hashtag Mad River Valley to go find things to do on my vacation here. I click into here and now I'm looking at your content, your content, your content. So in an indirect way, it gets you in front of new people, but it doesn't do what people assume that they do. Yeah. That's
So
good.
you're
analogy.
better off picking a hashtag that doesn't have as many things.
Correct. I usually recommend like 8 to 15. 8 to 15 being like a lot, but between 3 and 8, I would make it a habit of using hashtag Mad River Valley so that way Eric can then go into the hashtag and share.
It's actually
cross-promote
hashtag
things.
the Mad River Valley.
Sorry. my bad.
No, but that's what I was going to ask you. The hashtag doesn't really matter. I mean, Mad River Valley,
It
it's
is
not,
one that
it's
people
not the
use.
handle, that's what people use, right?
Yeah, so your hashtag Mad River Valley, but also the adding the Mad River Valley, that is something that you all as community members know that that's the account. But I'm thinking in the terms of like, who's your target audience? If it's skiers coming to Vermont, they're not going to know to put a the in front of that.
Right.
They're going to look up hashtag Mad River Valley. So it's important to kind of like know your like geographic ones. Waitsfield BT is a common one.
What's the difference between the at and the hashtag?
So at tags the account,
Okay, that's what I thought.
hashtag tags the content bank, like puts the post in one like hashtag bank. If you were to like if this post were to do at the Mad River Valley, Eric would get a notification being like, hey, you were mentioned in a post. If you want Eric to promote your business, use the at sign and tag him because he'll get a direct notification and that'll trigger Eric to be like, oh, I should promote this story. So still useful, but yeah, that's just an example of like how to start to incorporate like community strategy in all of this.
Oh, what I was gonna say is I meant is that if you like, because ours, for example, it's like if you do hashtag embroidery, right?
Yeah.
There's like a million,
So
right?
many, yeah.
But I try to find ones that, and I just want to make sure that I'm right, that is like, there's not so many. So actually, it's like if we did hashtag embroidery Vermont or something and say there was only, 100.
Funnel it down a little.
You would be better off than one that had a lot of things, right?
Yes and no. It depends on what your goal is of the post. So if your post is to bring together a community of embroiderers in Vermont, you might encourage your community to use embroidery Vermont. I'm gonna look that hashtag up, but chances are it's not a very popular one. You kind of wanna find ones that are in like a medium to large size. So what I mean by that is,
Thank you, Brittany.
yeah, no worries, sorry.
Sorry, and
We
I'm
always
late
go a
for-
little bit over, but that's
This
the
next
next
one's
one. Okay, so hashtag embroidery, there's a lot that comes up with it. They just changed where they put all the hashtags, so, okay, here you go. So when I look up hashtag embroidery past the search bar, you see how it says embroidery 31.5 million posts?
Yeah.
That's a lot of freaking posts. If you were to put it on Shirt Happens VT and then, you know, I'm looking at embroidery, I might see it, but the moment I hit refresh, there's like 30 more. So it's a very saturated hashtag. So absolutely correct. You want to try to funnel things down. The problem with Vermont is we are a very small state. So either you're trying to find ones that are like medium to large size. So that's why I do recommend leaning more on the geographic ones. So hashtag Mad River Valley, hashtag Sugar Bush VT, because those have like, so Sugar Bush and Sugar Bush VT, you see how that one has 10.2 like thousand posts? That means that there's people using the hashtag. There's people going in it and looking at stuff in it, but it's not one that has 31.5 million where it's an oversaturated content bank. And really thinking about like, is my goal to highlight an embroidery project with people? Is it to create inspiration and to like inspire more of a global community? Because then you would probably use one that's a little bit bigger that would reach that audience. So people that are looking for embroidery inspiration might be one that it's not embroidery where it's going to have 31.5 million, but like embroidery work, for example, is one that only has 1.3 million. So it's still reaching that audience, but it's not a super overly saturated content bank. For Vermonters, I do recommend, you know, finding one that has between like 5,000 and like, you're not going to find this for like 1 million. In Vermont, you're not going to find that though, except like hashtag Vermont. Not to totally get down the rabbit hole of hashtags, but like Vermont by Vermonters is a great one because that invites Vermonters to have more of a community conversation with each other. So does that make sense as far as like trying to find more geographic ones? Still including the subject-based ones. Yeah.
Does it matter to put the hashtags in the caption versus in
The first comment.
the first comment?
Best practice of recent times is doing it in the caption. What I do recommend for folks is making it a little bit more aesthetic. So rather than just doing your caption and then having a bunch of hashtags there, clicking the enter button a few times. So for example, like Someday Boutique. So here's just the reel you saw. Well, this is the finalized version. So you see how I always do enter dot, enter dot, enter dot. It still includes the hashtags in that post. So it pushes out to all of these hashtags. But it's not like right on top of the caption. So just readability wise, it makes it a little bit more easier for the caption reader to digest what they are reading before like just like a bunch of purple hashtags looking at them. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm
Sorry. No, go ahead. Finish.
I was just saying, like, not to toot my own horn, but like I'm always on top of hashtags for Lisa. So if you're ever like, what do I use today? Go to Someday Boutique VT because like you can just look at the ones I use for Lisa and then I do the work for you. Yeah, program. Yeah.
If you want to change your account type, where would you do that?
Yeah, let me show you. So
Since I have you.
yeah, absolutely. I'm doing nothing. Yeah. So I clicked my circle at the bottom right here. So you would do the same thing here.
Yep.
They did just change where this is, and it might take me a hot minute to find it, but if you go to the 3 hamburger lines at the very top to go into settings, I did just have to change it for one of my clients. I believe it's creator tools and controls, which is this one right here. So in the second section down, third.
If mine says business tools and controls, clearly I'm a business.
Yes, so that is where you would click into that.
Yeah.
And then at the very bottom here, you see where it says switch account type.
Yeah.
So that is where you should click. And then it would give you switch to personal, or if you're on a business, it would say switch to creator account. So you'd want to click switch to creator account. If it says this, then you're good. You're on a creator account.
Is there anything,
On the creator, do you get the same tools and stuff
Yeah, you
as
get
a business?
insights. Yeah, you get data, you get insights. Literally, the only difference is you can use cool music, which is on like, why do they even have the difference? But beats me. I just want to double check on you. Beautiful. Yeah, so you are on a creator account.
I just switched it.
Perfect. Ah, awesome.
I wonder if
Thank
it-
you.
if it minimizes the risk of getting hacked too? That people are going after businesses.
I don't know that for sure, but yeah, I don't see, like, there literally is no downside of having a creator. I've never heard of a business that's on a creator account getting like,
problem.
yeah,
might
getting
run
shadowed
into-
in because they're a business.
What you might run into is music licensing issues as a business versus a creator with ASCAP and all the others.
Even still, like, really but if a licensed song gets, like, if something gets muted, for example, one, it happens. I've had it happen like twice in the last 3 years, but even still, it does give you an option of switching out the song, so that's something to know. But usually that, if a song gets like muted, banned globally, everybody would lose that song. So it's not as much of an individualized thing. And usually that just has to deal with like the record deal, like paperwork. It's not like a you problem. It's the powers of above type of problem. So, but yeah, you could often like just switch out the song and it would come right back. So, yeah.
Can you search for a story? If you want to see a story, somebody's story that they've posted,
And you know that they've posted?
or you just want to see if they posted a story, is there any way to search that?
Yeah, so you would actually, at the bottom left or bottom second to the left, you would search for them. So for example, like, I had clicked that little spyglass thing at the bottom. So if I were to type in, so it looks like you have posted a story, because you see how that ring is pink up at the top? That means you have a story that I have not watched yet. But Drip Culture, for example, they either don't have a story, which it doesn't look like they do right now, or it tells me that I've not, or I've seen all of their stories. So that's the visual indicator that somebody has a story up. So you, for example, I'm going to click into your profile and you see how this ring, your profile picture is pink and yellow. That tells me, oh, Yvonne posted a story I've not seen yet. So that's how you do it, is you search for the person that you're looking to see their story, and then you would click their profile picture. So now we can see what Yvonne posted 19 hours ago. Go like and subscribe. And so you see how now the ring is like grayed out. That means I've seen all the stories I can from you.
Okay.
So it went away. Yeah. Yeah. So just a quick thing about stories. I just went back to the homepage real quick. So all of these stories are these circles at the top. So this motion is to view your newsfeed. This is all algorithmic. So this is like, oh, Brittany wants to see, you know, Vermont Womanpreneurs, because I engage with their stuff a lot. So like it's going to push their posts out more often. This is why it's important to get a mix of content out the door. So post, reels, stories, because stories are chronological. So that means if, oh yes,
We're your story.
Yeah, you are. So for example, if I were to click the Mad River Valleys and go look at what they had posted 4 hours ago, tap. This is 4 hours ago as well. This is 4 hours ago as well. If I were to exit out of that, the Mad River Valley, if I were to refresh that, well, Eric just reposted my, oh, and Lisa's, thank you for reposting that. So Eric's right now posting more stories, but if I were to refresh this page, you see how the Mad River Valley like moves? That's because I've already seen it. So the next chronological circle is whoever posted the newest story out of the people that I'm following. That sounds really confusing. So like, when you are thinking about stories, which are like small snippets throughout your day, that will constantly move your profile circle up to somebody's like newest, like the top 3 of the stories, because it's chronological. So if you're posting like a story at breakfast time, lunchtime, dinner time, for example, there are 3 times throughout somebody's viewing experience that your circle is going to move to more of their viewable story section because it's chronological. So it goes by time. That's why just strategically, it's better to do a mix of things because people are not always doing this action. It's really easy for them to start looking at a story and just start going tapping. And when you're tapping, you're just moving to the next person's story. So like this, from a consumer aspect, like look how many people's stories I just went through in the last week. I just clicked a link, great, an ad coming my way, which you will get ads, but typical. So you see how like it's just so much easier for me to like tap through stories. So many people are doing that nowadays because it's just an easy, quick consumption. So this is another one of my clients, but this is why it's helpful to also share stuff to your stories, because if you don't have the time to put a grid post out, this is an easy way to get in front of your viewers quickly and in a more time efficient way on your end, but also on their end.
I'm trying to share your story to my story. And
Yeah,
I'm
let me
able to do it.
that's okay. I'll mention you. So the reason Eric was able to do that was because I've mentioned the Mad River Valley in there. There you go.
That's the only reason I could,
Mhm.
because you mentioned it. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, so if you are working with a collaborator, let's say like a giveaway or a vendor that you're pairing in the store or whatever, a client, for example, it's always good to ask them if you can tag them in stories and posts so that way they can then cross promote and share your stuff to their networks, and then it becomes this like
Why is
easy
it not?
thing.
Is that when it shows up like in your messages and it says
Yeah.
add to your story and that's what you do?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. I'm trying to find an example of one, but I don't have any current ones right now. But yeah, essentially it would be like, so-and-so added you to your story. Yep, right there. Thanks, Eric. So this is a notification I would have just got. I'm on my DM. So Eric just mentioned me in the story. So it sent me a notification. You see how like I didn't even touch my phone and it said, we appreciate your mention. ManyChat. That's who did it. I did not type this. Look how fast I
And I
was.
thought you were just so nice.
No, I just blinked and boom.
So I just
happened.
added on top, happy to be learning.
Yeah. So that's a good way to like add to the conversation too. So when I refresh, it'll probably send me a notification about that. And then also here's just an example as well. So like Andrea is a personal trainer that I know. So when you're doing stories, for example, if people engage with your stories, it'll send you a personal direct message. So that's just like another way to like bridge that communication gap with people, which when you're engaging with them in a public like comment section, it could get a little awkward. I mean, you should still reply to people, but by putting up stories and having people engage with your stories, it does allow like more of a personal, like direct message, like the follow through happens in your inbox. So when you were asking before, like there's a lot of engagement that happens behind the scenes, you're absolutely correct. And like, this is just one example of one that like Andrea, for example, reacted to the story I posted before you all got here. And this is kind of like, oh, now Andrea's like starting, like she dropped a fire emoji, not really starting a conversation, but like, it just gives a little bit more of like, okay, I feel less weird being like, yeah, it was a great experience. Like, when's the next time you're coming down here? See how like bridges that communication gap a little bit rather than like if somebody, which again, public comments are great, but if I were to, I need to respond to these, my bad. Like Lisa, for example, who I just happen to know in real life, like I could reply to her, but it's takes a little bit more like confidence to then go reach out to her behind the scenes and be like, hey, thanks so much for, your comments and like starting a conversation if it started in the public eye. So yes, both types of engagement are good, but this is where Instagram stories, like it does give you a little bit of like leverage because those engagements then follow up in the direct messages rather than on a public forum.
And don't they pick up in the algorithm
They do,
too?
yeah.
Because you're engaging with that account, so it's going to show you more of that content.
Absolutely. So it tells the algorithm like I'm an active participant in the Instagram or whatever platform community. So, algorithms is a generalized word across the board, but whichever platform that your audience you're engaging with, your baseline is you want to tell that platform, hey, I'm not just here to like sell stuff and dip. I'm engaging and I'm trying to make the Instagram platform, a community-based platform. It's a social network, so you kind of have to play the social network game. And we talked a lot about content today, but the other thing is like if you are waking up on a day where you like don't have content planned, you're just like not feeling like putting content together, just spend 10 minutes engaging with people online. Like, that still tells your algorithm like, hey, I'm an active participant of this social community. 10 minutes, then put it away. Yeah, so you don't have to post 5 times a day, but it's still important to show up for your business online.
In regard to the story, like I use it very differently because I'm trying to promote our local businesses. And am I overdoing it?
I don't think
And
so.
sometimes like I'll have 20 things on there.
But you like that's the umbrella. Your
Right,
umbrella
exactly.
is the businesses that are, part of the chamber, part of the region. I don't think you're
He's asking about the length of the story because
Oh,
he's putting
yeah.
so many parts in there versus
You're
if you do
very
smaller
deep.
snippets.
Yeah,
of
no, I don't think so.
shares to
No.
stories.
No.
Is that better?
It shows that you are supporting the community. That's your job. So when you're thinking about like your business goals, which we've talked to at length, so just to catch everybody up with the strategic plan here is like showcasing the Mad River Valley as a go-to tourist destination for Vermonters, outside staters, everybody. And highlighting the community aspect of like, getting folks more involved with the community and the business community in the Mad River Valley. So those are just 2 big goals. So by sharing stories, that tells you like you are highlighting the businesses so that way tourists, Vermonters are seeing the Mad River Valley as a very vibrant community, but also that your business to business community wants to support each other. See, Yvonne is my go-to social media manager. But yeah, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
And I think, one more thing, and then, we can wrap it up here is, we're going to be talking about event promotions next time. So that's when I'm going to bring up the retail calendar as well. One thing I want to mention is I'm sending all of you an ebook that which I need to get Daisy's email.
I already posted that to the ebooks are all posted on a Google Drive.
Yes. Okay.
And so they're all there right now in the email update that you got yesterday. There's a
Only I
link
knew
to
how
it.
to use Google Drive properly. I'll get
I
there
could send
someday.
it. I have your email.
Someday I'll get
Yeah.
there.
So yeah, go follow along with the ebook. I basically took these slides and expanded them to a workbook that'll help you work through some of this content planning. So number 1, number 2, event promotions. We're going to talk about the retail calendar next time. That's a way to pull businesses together to drive more traffic to this area.
We have a really good, exciting event that's building and building and building here.
What is it?
A large part of thanks to Eric really stepping in, and that's Green Up Day.
Ooh. April?
So
May
it's
5th.
May,
May 3rd.
and it's coming right up before you know it.
Yeah.
So think about in your business, how you can link into Green Up Day somehow. And how you can participate in that activity. And Eric can certainly tell you more about what's happening and all of that down here.
So that's a good example, you know, like a green up post that then tags all the businesses that are involved.
Yep.
And then all the businesses would get a notification and are able to add to the conversation through comments, add commentary via stories, even collaborate if they're feeling comfortable with you adding them as collaborator. But the other thing is, check out, we created a, Eric really wants help with the media piece. And if you're already putting posts out there, all you would have to do is tag the Mad River Valley as a collaborator, and all he would have to do is hit the accept, and it gets your post in front of 1,000+ people, which we're building that followership as well. But that's also a way where if you're already creating the media, that allows you to get in front of the audience that's already following the Mad River Valley. So
But
if you
keep in mind, you know, what is it that I want to collaborate
Yeah.
with? You know, if I have some, you know, Mad Rover talking about a sale, like that's not.
No,
that's
but like
not-
an intro post, so on that PDF, I give 5 examples of different posts to do, but really it's like the culture that your business provides, like where you are, like an intro post.
Like you might want to think about starting some sort of a contest of a t-shirt that could be made for little kids that they helped green up the Mad River Valley with some sort of a
Logo,
logo.
a drawing.
To create, I don't know like how many runs you would have to do to make a t-shirt, but something in that line where it could be a localized green up, that like we're greening up the valley and like take the pride in greening up the valley and getting, like, for me, it's getting the kids involved. So I have a green up table and the kids can come in and they tell me, they can, first off, if they participated in greening up through school with parents, whatever, during that weekend, they can come in and I give them one of our little green bags, and I have little goodies at the table that they can put in our little green bag to leave with. And then if they want to engage with me and tell me what the worst thing is that they picked up or the strangest thing they found, to engage with an adult that not all kids are comfortable doing, then I have a bigger gift to give them to put in their green bag. So it's just our way of trying to keep the movement going and keep families involved. And if you get them started when they're younger, you know, they become stewards of
Taking care
the
of
valley.
And that's a good example.
Right.
And the other thing that we're doing too is that, you know, it's an afterthoughts. It's the Kentucky Derby that day as well. And we're gonna do a hat contest from garbage.
Oh, that's
Perfect.
fun.
Yep.
I love that. I grew up in the my prom year was the year of the duct tape, so I might come to that. Yeah, I know someday that week we're doing the prom swap. We're doing suits and dresses in collaboration with Harwood, so folks can all are welcome. So not just dresses.
So you're gonna swap your duct tape one?
Yeah, if that only still existed. We're gonna leave that in 2012, pretty much. But yeah, like any, you know, suits, dresses, we just don't want accessories or shoes because gross. But any like lightly used prom attire, that is their contribution. So I'll make sure that you have the details also. That's happening the 3rd and the 4th though, so I don't know if you're
3rd and 4th of May.
Yeah.
Well, it sort of does
It falls
figure in, it
Yeah.
figures in repurposing and upcycling and
Sure.
all of that.
Absolutely.
So it's a good way to get it actually, that's something to share ahead of time as an announcement of, oh, and don't forget to join us for all these other events here.
Yeah.
Just happens that this is the prom date.
Yeah, we
And
needed to make sure.
So it's a good way for Eric to actually lead in.
Yeah.
And include a business doing good.
Yeah.
And helping to upcycle.
Yeah.
And share.
And with all the high schoolers too, so I know you're catching from younger, but
Yeah.
you know, how you get the teens
Absolutely.
involved as well.
That's what I do.
Cool. Any other questions while you have me here?
With Letterman.
Yeah. Woohoo.
Yeah, I just want to remind you guys also that all of Whitney's previous workshops are all on our YouTube channel. So if you want to go back there, they're all numbered.
Yeah.
So you can go and go through the entire curriculum.
Yeah. Essentially, we start from like, who's your target audience? So, you're saying like everyone, please watch that. I was giving the example, like, you're not selling to newborn babies, maybe you are, but not everybody. Yeah, so it starts from target audiences. We talked about marketing messaging in the last one. I can't remember what we did for number 2, but we have this one, and then next one is event promotions on May 13th. So,
And then April 15th, is it the 15th we have back here? for retailers?
That's the retail
mhm.
meeting, yes.
Yes, for all, not just the, but
Everyone.
everyone.
Yes.
And that is at 9:30?
Yeah, I think 9:30.
Oops, we're still recording. That's funny.
I'm trying to do it retail. Retail event. Timing. What time do you open?
So 6:30 in the morning? Just kidding.
That's lodging time.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, that was a very long recording. Thank you, Jordan, for bearing with us. She had hung up a while ago, I could tell. Thank you all for coming. It was cool to see everybody live
What do
in
you guys-
person.
I already have.
Nice to
this
see
one.
you again. Nice to
Yeah,
see
I'll
you
have
again.
this.
Thanks for letting me jump in with so many particular questions.
I mean, they're all questions that are one valid, help you out, and I'm sure it's questions that other folks have, but just didn't think of yet.
Thank you very much, Brittany.
Of course,
Really appreciate it.
anytime.
So we have a cross.
I'm glad to know that so the viewership is there.
Can you show us how to post from Instagram to Facebook?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me get this guy off of a unicycle real quick.
Lady's gonna juggle, so that's what he's
Juggling's really good for your body,
He's
everybody.
on a unicycle on a treadmill, which is,
God.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
pretty impressive.
Yeah. Right. I'm gonna switch this over.
Yeah.
Okay, so
He's juggling didn't
real quick, I'm gonna
last.
show you how to do this.
So we're on Instagram, right?
Yes, so
Okay.
Instagram to Facebook. So
Okay,
up at the
the
top,
Library does a t-shirt
back to
competition.
the hamburger, the 3 lines up at the top, right?
Yeah.
Is it for Green Up Day?
No, I don't, because I don't actually,
So
I don't
you see,
quite understand the follow,
can
so
show you
if it
this
was
as
a
well.
competition.
so
then
you see
you-
where it
so then they
says
sell a t-shirt
cross
or-
posting.
Yeah,
they're-
the only
they're
difference
not
there, I'm just getting the. super
Yeah,
text, so
Oh.
I might be
so
thinking-
what, like,
I might be, because I read
yeah,
I'm not
I
sure.
can turn around the grab, I mean,
So I
for
can
us,
make-
the
I just-
minimum, yeah, in order for us, it's 24, it's,
It might be
Um,
because you just switched to a
but
creator account. It might
questions,
take
like,
a
in
little bit to
general-
kick in. So I would check in a few
so
hours.
businesses
I
and
get it here, share
things
too.
like that are more of our customer that we're trying to reach than we would be better off sponsoring
So
something.
you
Okay.
see how it
Where
says
you get
recommend
the
gotcha.
expression and the logo, so like
For
if,
some people, that's good if you want to reach a global community, but I would. toggle
although
that off.
it's,
And you're not gonna
it's
do
something that
without
we could think about throwing in there and say,
Oh,
as part of the
cross-posting
green up
to
day,
the
kids
actual
can do this or
page.
something, but,
So you put that.
That's
Anyway.
just getting that.
Did you just switch to a creator account? or
No,
did
I'm
you
not in the
just-
creator, I'm a business.
Oh, there I am.
Okay.
That's okay,
I
but,
checked my account. I just
sometimes
talked to my tech.
I.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, if you still have issues, we can.
But
always-
it should
yeah.
work. Okay.
Yeah,
And it's,
but this is essentially what it
Somehow.
brings you to is,
um,
um,
okay, I.
Let me see what-
and then it should give you the option. Sometimes it's shut off like that by default. So you want to toggle this on, and then it should come up with like your business Facebook page, which then it's yes, share as
Okay.
the business page name. If you are somebody who, or if you come across somebody who does more personal things where their network is mainly Brittany Winfield's profile, you could switch it over to a profile, like a personal profile, but
Oh,
for
okay,
businesses
yeah.
don't.
Because I saw your post.
But this is where
Okay,
you
so
go
then
to toggle those on.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
So this is one of the things that I'm wondering about too, is that um.
Not even going in that place.
I know, I've seen some posts, so I guess I was following you on, that post, and I got your personal, I got flowers on. Water.
Yes.
I tried,
You have to have a personal.
That's a delivery time.
Okay.
Was my problem.
And then it switches over to the
Because I
back.
just couldn't do my-
So now you're engaging.
I'm just wondering if my
That's why I switched from Cisco to.
I have something up.
Like,
Mind if I
what I think they do, I know what they do, they go to Lincoln, Ellen, down the road.
So.
So it's probably like you or the barn, who's over
So
next,
far,
you know?
but yeah.
Yeah.
They don't.
It seems to get deliveries.
So it is.
I mean, like, when I was with them, they were like 1:30,
Okay, so
they
you're
go
smaller place.
through here,
Okay, so
everybody here,
Right.
and then they make their way down to me.
cross posting.
And I was like, and especially when it's starting to like most meetings, and trying to get ready.
And there was always the caveat, to have somebody filling in for you as a certain person, they can start with that from the beginning. When the person walks in the door, you know, and I put it out.
Yeah, I don't have it. It was like just me, and I feel hoping I said, everybody else has, you want my business, this is what's gonna pay. And he goes, well, let me put the transportation here, and I'm like,
Questions you
I'm
have,
probably still.
because that would otherwise.
It's like you get off, and then I'll be back to performance again, you know?
Yeah.
It's always a house. Yes.
Unfortunately, she's pretty. Right. So,
Yeah, and he's with Cisco, because Cisco still doesn't have, you know? But like the other pictures, I do like you as a technology better than, performance. Cause like the other thing I got,
Yeah.
was like,
Oh, connect with you.
I kind of moldy Brussels sprouts. And I didn't catch it until, and I sat there and I took 2 pictures on my phone, requested a credit, and I was done. Didn't have to talk to my, like, didn't call them, you know, this is this, it's like,
Phone on.
they're like, this is,
I don't have pocket.
you know, and so that's sort of.
I never.
We try to
have
do the
pocket.
face, but it doesn't always
So I
work.
missed
know?
the moment.
And then I also got.
Having to run and go grab my phone from somewhere.
Because I was like, wait, you guys.
It's
don't
always
show
having it.
that shirt.
Yeah.
And you've been trying to get me to become a
So.
customer. And you didn't even say, hey, do you want to come?
Yes.
You know, come check us out. You know, that was, I was like,
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
but,
Seeing you.
hey, whatever, did you get a response on the restaurant group?
I heard 2, Chico's and the Hideaway.
Who?
Chico's in
What's
Middlesex.
Yeah, but.
Based on what,
at least if
but,
you have a
Asking if they were, you got that
Or
post where it's
start
like,
the idea of a post.
hey, it's great to see everyone doing this,
right.
using this, and you know, is there a reason for a meeting? Would you be interested?
Oh, yeah, I actually meant, I was like, well, shoot, I saw the email again, so I went through it, but I was like.
I might just schedule, what's that? If it was.
They don't magically.
It would be, I'd say we just schedule
No,
a
I
meeting.
Yeah.
I would just say schedule a meeting for one day.
What time of day do you think? Like on a Monday or Tuesday in the morning?
I prefer Monday or Tuesday. Monday, Tuesday for me are typically better, or even Wednesday. Thursday's not,
Yeah.
There's a lot tends to be good time, I think, for most restaurant people to have your.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just say, hey,
Your breakfast is done.
Yep.
But if you're trying to get a chef or somebody to be a part of it, or if you're a chef owner,
Yeah.
they're not really in doing much work at that point.
Okay.
Or they can afford to.
Sounds good.
yeah, I'd say like 11 and just do it today.
All right.
Sounds
so
good.
you
Have a
have
good
to
day.
ask you.
Things are from the grocery store here. Right, yeah, yeah. So.
I'm gonna see what I can do.
That step for you.
Some
So
answers
you
I can find.
here, you can
But
just
it
hit
should,
pause.
yeah.
Should be there.
It should be there.
The grocery
I would give it a
store.
second because you did just switch and see if that cross promoted
Yeah.
Comes up.
comes up. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's
Yeah.
part of why you're in business.
All right, thank you so much. You do a really nice job.
Thank you.
I
I
really
just,
appreciate
you know,
it.
you
your
know
shit.
why I'm here. Thank you. You know, these are my people too. I know I live a little while away, but
But don't.
I think I told you, like, Warren was my first experience in Vermont, and
Mhm.
that was one of the reasons I wanted to stay. So
Well, good.
it's my home,
So,
home a little bit.
Yeah. No, but I think this is really, it's just.
Just took that picture of you.
Because they're being done. And
Well, do you feel like it would be helpful to have them in person?
I prefer it. I mean, I do. I think it's, I think it's nice, and we can, we've proven that we can do it remotely, and that's fine too. I'm just, and they want it.
Yeah.
They were so clear about that. When I got out with the retailers and the retail group, it's like, it's just the best one.
Yeah.
And, and then, people like, I can't get Lisa involved. Like, she just doesn't, she's busy, I think, but like,
So I have now sent you. the
it's fine.
photo.
She's not doing anything.
Okay, so you can take that photo
Right, well, but she's smart enough to hide
and,
it, like me.
it's
Like, it's,
Yeah, right there. No, I'm
you
not.
gotta be able to,
Tuesdays. Okay. All right.
it's just really
So,
frustrating because these
you
little
can say,
businesses that like, are trying to say,
you can
what does the
add
chamber do for me?
text on here.
Yeah.
I listen to them and
taking
then like, this is
advantage
what
of
you
the day
want,
of not
and
open
providing
till
it.
one.
Yeah.
And trying to make it
Right.
as easy as I can,
And
but I to do it,
We talked about this last time, like,
You know, as a new
Your-
business owner,
deliverables,
it
check,
doesn't
check,
stop
check,
when
check.
the doors are locked,
Just do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
So true.
Right, yeah.
You're gonna visit
So
Lisa
you
now?
can just go ahead.
I was
and
hoping
post.
to.
You
We're
can
gonna go
put
get
letters,
lunch,
like,
but I
on top of
yeah.
here that,
I do have to get back for a 1 p.m. meeting, so I
Yeah.
might have to see
Yeah,
out.
that you're.
But-
Well, I didn't realize that you bartended to
Just
Lisa.
let, you can give.
No,
me that
yes,
message
so,
back.
That's
yes,
cool.
yeah, every once in a while, when she
Even
needs
when
extra help, I
doors
was doing it
aren't
more
open,
last,
you're
year, last
Yeah.
summer, but I see her at all the
And
events.
becoming a part of
We're always
that.
with each other.
She's good network.
Yeah.
Shows that you're.
Yeah, do you know Rhonda Burns?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
She's
Rhonda's
lived
a very
here.
good friend of mine.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's.
So
yeah,
that's why-
like Elmore or something.
Yeah, she's up on the top.
Yeah.
Like,
Even though you're not there working today, you're
I don't
working.
think they're married, her and Jan. Yeah, I don't think they're married.
There's a new man now.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, I'm sort of just chilling on top of the mountain. I just saw her yesterday. That was I'm on the board of directors for community capital.
Oh,
So I got
okay.
to see all them yesterday.
Yeah, Rhonda's too, I think they still in the weights filled in
Yeah.
and yeah, it was like her a lot better than the husband.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a good friend of mine and, she was one of my clients. at
The
one point,
biggest
and I
thing
was
you
one of
need
her
to do is
clients.
find
So
out right now.
I used to work in accounting.
I actually just resigned. So Saturday was my last day.
Um,
Yeah, I had a bunch of friends come out and I served them one last drink. I had my one last.
Are you
drink.
getting it for me?
just.
Yeah,
You'll
yeah,
still do that.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. I,
Okay.
I'm heavy into the improv. I actually have a show on the 15th.
Really?
Where I am doing improv 104.
Even if you put,
High advanced level
Right.
improv.
even if you put that sandwich board
So I'll
by
be
your
doing 20
door
minutes off the
and
top of
put
my head of a musical.
florist.
Wow.
Yeah.
Were you a theater kid in like high school and stuff?
I tried. I was more of like the computer science kid, believe it or not. But my
I
sister
totally
was
believe
the
it.
musical theater one. My sister is very artistic and
Because what I'm trying to tell
She's
people
stage
when I'm telling them
managers,
about you is
but,
that there's no sign, no sign yet.
But even
Look
so,
for
I'm
the
not like
big
a
flag
full
and
on.
it's right across
theater
and I'm like,
kid.
right now, it looks like it's just,
I went to
property
kids
management
in
company.
high school in
and that's like what you've
Hampton
got
Township,
out
New
there.
Jersey.
Yeah.
What's happening?
I'm originally from Clifton.
Clifton. that's
Yeah,
okay.
but I didn't end up. My parents dropped me out before I got.
That's
to
what
school.
and then next week, there will be some other ones outside. So
Nope,
that-
we're going to the country. So I went from like literally inner city to country in 1 year, 5th grade. So yeah, it's good flip for me. And yeah, Vermont kind of reminds me of home. So,
Mhm. Yeah, no single don't think New Jersey are like positively like.
I'm like, there's more cows than people where I'm from,
Mhm.
which I'm fine with. But again, why I like Vermont, I was like, the smell of manure, like really just like.
Please come to my
brings
house.
back memories.
I
Yeah.
live right next to the cow farm.
Oh, I love it. My partner is from Pittsfield, New York originally, and I'm like, Ed, like, we're gonna like move up to like